Okay, we are back at that same output that we left when I talked about statistical power not to in video number 3. I'm going to go ahead and close this output because I want to focus on um, another oops another there we go, another type of another way of doing this t-test. Now, previously we've talked about using gender as an independent variable, and we had two examples where we looked at putting males first or females first just by the grouping variable. We looked at race, in which we compared just the Hispanics and the Asians, I believe, and we did that by selectively using the codes for race here. Marital status is not going to prove to be very interesting for us because the students are not married. Let's do one more with that same kind of comparison of just two groups within a larger range of values. So let's do a t-test and look at academic status. And let's add another variable so you can see what that output looks like. So I'm going to go back up to my Analyze. Notice that in academic status we have 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and I'm sure you can. Let's just do a frequency distribution of those to make sure that we're clear what those numbers stand for. Okay, as we expected, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, graduate, and other. Let's let's contrast the areas where I think we'll have the greatest difference, and that's between seniors and freshmen. So let's just look at a t-test between those two, and you can just imagine that in my grouping variable I'm going to define my groups as 1 and 4. But let's not get ahead of ourselves too much here. By the way, I hope you're finding these videos helpful. It's something I've begun to change how I do things. Okay, so let's use alcohol total again, and let's get rid of race. Let's move to academic status. Now, all I did there is I just clicked on academic status and I scrolled down to find it. Put that over there. Now I'm going to define the groups, and this time I'm going to use 1 and 4. Okay, does that make sense? Now, in class I've talked about the fact that we can put more than one analysis here. So let's see, let's look at let's look at risk-taking behavior. Okay. Now, I'm guessing that we could go either way with alcohol total. We could find that seniors who are older and can purchase alcohol more readily than freshmen could use alcohol more. But we might also find that there are a lot of freshmen who start college and spend their first semester drinking a lot and never make it to being a senior. So I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. My null hypothesis here is that they'll be equal, and my alternative hypothesis, my null is that they would be equal. My alternative is that they'll be different, but I don't know which way they will be different. Same with risky behavior. But let's think about this more clearly. I think that people who are risky in their behavior as freshmen are not going to last to be seniors. Their grades aren't going to make it. So I'm thinking we're going to find that freshmen engage in more risky behavior than do seniors. So my null hypothesis is that risky behavior will be the same for freshmen as it will be for seniors, but my alternative hypothesis is going to be that seniors are going to be less risky than sophomores. Okay, so let's just run this analysis. The output will look a little bit different. Now this output looks different because we're getting two sets of means, one for the alcohol total and one for the risky. You can see that we are successful in just looking at the freshmen versus the seniors in both cases. All right, now let's just go back to my idea that in terms of alcohol total, I thought that the freshmen might show lower consumption than the seniors, and son of a gun, that proves to be the case, at least with regard to the means. And I thought that freshmen might be a little bit more risky than seniors, and I promise I didn't look at this ahead of time. There are some small differences here. Now, I'd like for you to think a moment back to the idea of statistical power. Recall that in the study prior to this, in which I looked at Asians and Hispanics, I had about a tenth of the number of people. Remember, there were like 74 and 40 or something like that. Now, so smaller differences between the means could be significant because we'll have greater statistical power. Okay, so let's go down here and let's look at our t-test. So we see that freshmen drink less than seniors, at least in their means, and the results of our statistical analysis show that this is a statistically significant difference. T is 4.48 and the p-value is less than 0.001. Now the differences with regard to risky behavior, even though the freshmen show somewhat greater risky behavior, 7.9 versus 7.6, this is a very small difference, and even with the high power that we have, we find that we cannot reject the null hypothesis. Here we have a t-value of 1.34, 1.35, and we have a p-value of 0.176. Now, in a moment we're going to come back to this and talk a little bit about what this two-tailed parenthetical remark indicates, and we'll talk a little bit about directional hypothesis. So let's stop here and let you digest that.